So I've been working on an experiment. Um, it's actually a pretty interesting one. Um, it it was short-lived, but it kind of started by accident. Um, what ended up happening is I had a friend from work who had asked me to help him move some furniture into his new house, and actually he moved just down the street. So, of course, no problem. Um, I've driven by the house probably countless times, and I've never actually seen the inside of the house. Well, about a week before he was actually supposed to be moving in, I had a dream, a lucid dream. And oddly enough, um, while I was inside this dream, I actually decided to experiment while I was in the dream. And this is the first time that I've made a conscious decision to start an experiment actually inside of a dream, which I'll get into later. But what ended up happening is I started out in my living room, and from my living room, I ended up walking outside. I ended up going to the end of the street, or end of the drive actually, and then I started walking towards his house. And what it started out as is just a simple kind of exploration, lucid dream. These are pretty common. I have them a lot. And I decided right then, as I was walking towards the house, just what if I could go inside this house, look around, floor by floor. I knew that it was two-floor with a basement because he had told me this. But he gave me no other details of the house because we were just talking about it, and I asked him how many floors, and he said it was two plus basement. So yeah, I I thought to myself, what if I could actually go inside this house, explore the house, and then wake up and see how my sort of imagination or my brain maybe interprets the inside of the house based on, like I said, imagination, based on what I've seen from the outside, the little bit that I could see in the windows and in the living room, just based on that, and see how that would compare to actually going into the house. It seems kind of weird, and I don't really think there's any data that could, be gathered that's going to be useful anywhere, but it's just something that I wanted to try. So since I was a week away from actually helping him move, I decided that every lucid dream until that point was going to be about exploring this house. And another neat thing is that I didn't have another lucid dream for 2 days afterwards, but that's my cat. And what ended up happening is the house actually stayed the same every time I explored it. I actually started in different locations during the lucid dream. Some of them didn't start out at the beginning, some of them were kind of in the middle, but I always immediately put myself near or in front of the house, wherever possible. But from the first day that I lucid dreamed about this house to the last day, which would have been the day before I actually helped him move in, my interpretation or imagination of the inside of the house did not change one bit. So it stayed the same. I actually expected it to kind of variate a little bit, but it didn't. It was the same. Of course, there was no furniture in there because it was basically a new move-in. And the day that I helped him move in, I told him that I wanted to, that I was doing this experiment, and that I wanted to walk through the house real quick just before he moved in the furniture, just to see how it compared to what I dreamt. Of course, not everything was the same. In my dream, it had all hardwood floors, whereas the actual house had carpeted rooms, tiled kitchen, and hardwood main living room. And it was a two-story, but the stairs were off to the left of the house. They weren't as you walk in, whereas in my dream they were right there as you walk in, facing away. Well, anyway, I don't need to go into the details of the differences, but what I was actually surprised in is that other than a few differences, the similarities were actually striking. Um, the size of the rooms, the locations, where the bathroom was at, the locations of the rooms being at the four corners of the house, and then how the living room and the dining room connected with the kitchen, and it just kind of it was kind of neat that I was able to kind of bring the two together. As I said, this experiment really, I don't think it really proves anything, but it kind of shows where my interpretation inside my dreams can somewhat compare to what is actually happening. So, it does seem really weird, but it was a dream that started out lucid, and I was able to experiment inside the dream, or discover this experiment. But like I said, I don't think this is really going anywhere. It's just some weird experiment that I had that lasted about a week, and obviously I can't do the experiment again unless I have somebody's house I'm going to be helping them move into. But I just, I thought I would kind of share that small experience that I had. See what you guys think.